Lesson 16 and 17, which is evaluating more complex or more complicated expressions. Okay, so let's get started. We discovered in 14 that it's useful to employ parentheses, brackets, and braces to sort of separate our terms as we need to. The biggest thing we're going to take away from this lesson is every time you plug in something for a letter, every time you plug in a number for a letter, please put it in parentheses. Actually, my suggestion to you would be go through and recopy the actual expression with parentheses where the letters should have been, which is what I'm doing right now. So basically what this is this exact expression right here, just with the letters left out and parentheses put in. Now we're going to go back and fill our stuff in. Okay, A is 4. Here's A again. That's all. That's 4. P is -2. We have to be really careful to use parentheses so we don't lose negative signs. And A at the end, that's a 4. Okay, so we're going to start at the innermost set of parentheses and then work out. Okay, so -2 minus 4, that's a -6. Recopy everything you haven't used yet. I guess that parenthesis should be right there. Okay, times -4 here. And then big parentheses is a -6 in here. Close parentheses, close bracket. Okay, then we have -4 times -6, positive 24. So then we have -4 times a positive 24. Final answer would be a -96. And we got there so easy because we were careful to use parentheses for every number separating our negative signs. Okay, let's go to number 1. Number 1 is AX times the opposite of A times A minus X. Now here's what I'm going to do. Here's where the A should be. Here's the X. Start bracket, negative sign. I'm right here. I'm right there now. Here's an A. Start parentheses. Big parenthesis right here. That's this. Here's the A minus X. Close parenthesis. Close bracket. Okay. A is -2. X is negative. Oh, this says B. Let's change that to an X. I wasn't even aware of that. Let's change that to an X so that we can perform these calculations. Alright, so X is now -6. A is 2. -2. A, again, -2. And then X, which remember we changed B to X here. X is -6. Okay, let's put it all together. Let's start in the inside here. We're going to have multiplication here and multiplication here. So I'm going to have 2, -2 times -6. Start bracket. Let's go ahead and take care of this right here. We have the opposite of -2. That's positive 2. And now in these big parentheses, we have -2 minus -6. This becomes a plus sign here. -2 plus 6, positive 4. Close parenthesis, close bracket. Okay, now we can just multiply straight through, really. -2 times -6 is positive 12. And then 2 times 4 is an easy 8. We're left with 12 times 8, which is 96. Okay, let's try the next one. The opposite of B, remember, start the parentheses, leave them empty for your B. Start bracket. The opposite of B, again, start big parentheses. Here's my B, minus, here's my C. Close parenthesis, minus, start parenthesis again for this set here, C minus B. Close parenthesis. Okay, let's fill in. B is a negative 4. Here's B again, that's a negative 4. Here's B again, that's a negative 4. C is negative 6. Here's C, a negative 6. And then B again is a negative 4. Okay. Let's see if we can take care of this subtraction in here, this subtraction in here. Then we're going to subtract what we get here by this subtraction symbol from this stuff. Then it's three numbers we're going to multiply together. So let's see how much we can simplify on our first trip here. The opposite of negative 4, positive 4. Then we have the opposite of negative 4 again, positive 4. Some subtraction in here. Negative 4 minus a negative 6. But negative times a negative, this goes positive. Negative 4 plus 6, that is a positive 2. Subtraction symbol in the middle. Negative 6 minus a negative 4. This is negative 6 plus 4. That's a negative 2. And I guess really, on the onset of this, I said we were going to have three numbers to multiply together. I suppose really that's not the case, since we'll have to do multiplication here, then do this subtraction respecting these brackets. I sort of skipped over those whenever I first started explaining this. But we're going to be left with a positive 4 outside. 4 times 2 inside the bracket is 8. So we have 8 minus a negative 2. Close bracket. We have 8 minus a negative 2, which is 8 plus 2. That's 10. So we have 4 times 10, or 40. The biggest thing we need to remember to do here is put the parentheses, leave them blank, and then go back and fill them in. What I would like is for you to try number 3 on your own, and we'll start this lesson in class with number 3. Now, let's go to the back of the front page and talk about what's called, or what are terms. In algebra, we have things that are called factors and coefficients. The coefficient is the number or variable in the front of an indicated product. Now, an indicated product is something just like, x times y times z. This is some indicated product. This is a multiplication problem that we don't know yet, because we don't know what x is, we don't know what y is, and we don't know what z is. But eventually, we're going to know what these numbers are, and we'll be able to multiply them and get the product. The coefficient in front of xyz, maybe it's an 8. That's the number, usually the number out in front. Here's our examples. In 4xy, 4 is a coefficient. But look at this. In x times 5y, x is a coefficient. I guess we should always also point out that 5 is also a coefficient of y. And whenever I would multiply this, I get 5xy. So realistically, 5 is the coefficient here. So go ahead and let's get rid of this, because 5 really is the only coefficient there. Okay. Let's talk about terms. Terms in algebraic expressions. Here are the rules for terms, but these are a little bit confusing. So what I'm going to suggest that you realize is that terms are separated by addition signs and subtraction signs. That's really it. So down here in our example, we have 4 terms. Here they are right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice that every term is separated by either an addition or a subtraction symbol. And here's a subtraction symbol here. Note that this addition symbol happens inside division, so this does not separate any terms. So the first term is this guy out front, x. The second term is 4xym, this guy right here. The third term is 6p over y plus 2, which is this guy here. And then the fourth term is just 8. So that is our study of terms, and it's important that we're able to identify terms, separate terms, and, as we'll see very shortly, be able to combine terms. Please continue with part 2 of lessons 16 and 17.